So, does anyone have any questions about that difference between those two? We're going to get into the science part of it right now. No, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Kamisha. I am so sorry. Does it make sense to you too? Okay, good. Is that new information to anybody? No, good. A little bit? Kind of? Okay. So this is called the triune brain. So we're going to tie this back around to what we're doing in this office. So physician and neuroscientist Dr. Paul MacLean proposed this model of the evolution of the brain back in the 1960s, and he has a book out now that came out in the 90s that talks about it. Basically, what it means is that we have three brains that have evolved on each other as we've evolved as a Homo sapiens species. So the lower brain is the brainstem and the limbic system, and the amygdala, which we're going to talk about in just a second. So this is our more primitive brain. This is basic functions like breathing, blinking, digesting. This is the brain that we share with reptiles, okay? It's called our reptilian brain. So we share this brain with lizards and iguanas, and it controls all the same impulses, or all the same things that they are able to do in their life. This higher brain, called the new brain, is the cortex and the prefrontal cortex, okay? So this prefrontal cortex we share only with dolphins. We all know that dolphins are a very intelligent species. This is what makes us human. It allows us to be more evolved, more sophisticated. It's a very complex part of the brain. It's in charge of our executive functions like thinking and decision making and planning, okay? So this is a part of the brain that should always be in control. However, when we get overwhelmed, we sense danger of some sort, or we're overwhelmed with too much input, the lower brain regions hijack this upper brain region. Okay, it's called amygdala hijacking. So our reptilian brain starts running the show. You have no idea how many people walk around with the reptilian brain running the show all the time. When you start to understand the difference between these two brains, you'll be able to see who's walking around without running the show. It's a great short-term strategy because it helps us to survive. This bigger part of the brain uploads these big complex files, and it looks at all the data, and it makes the best possible decisions, right? It says, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. That's how we're able to think the way we're able to think as human beings and think expansively and really put all these pieces together. But when we are overwhelmed, we can't take all that information because we'll just go into shock. So we say, the amygdala says, nope, you're not doing that right now. Lower brain's taking over, and the lower brain makes decisions based on previous history. So something happened, made a decision, positive response, that's what we're doing. Something happened, made a decision, negative response, we don't do that. So it's like milliseconds, it makes this decision. So it helps us when we're when we're overwhelmed to survive and not freeze. So it's great short term, however, it's lethal in the long term. And this is what contributes to a lot of those problems that we have as a country. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So if you are running from a tiger, which our ancestors did back in the day, and you sprain your ankle and that tiger is chasing you, do you think you're going to be feeling that ankle and feeling how painful it is? Or is your body going to go, disconnecting, run for your life, right? Probably, your ankle's probably dragging behind you and you don't feel it because you got to get away from that tiger. So when you're running, you are disconnecting from your body, okay? So you can get from point A to point B and survive. This has everything to do with when we have amygdala hijacking in our modern day world, same things start to play into effect. What do you think happens when you're running from that tiger to your muscles? Do you think your muscles are nice and relaxed, or do you think that they're really tight and tense? Tight and tense. So you get really tight. What happens to your breathing? Do you think you take long, shallow breaths? Yeah, you're like, right? Because you're pumping oxygen to those muscles so that you can run really fast. Heart rate. Is your heart rate up or down? Up. What happens to your blood pressure? How many people are on blood pressure medication? What happens to your digestion? Yeah. Your digestive system is a huge energy hungry system. This system takes so much energy to work. If you're running from a tiger, are you going to let any energy go to that system? You don't need it to go to that system when you're in survival mode. So you may get constipated, you may have a lot of bowel disorders. There are so many names for bowel disorders now, I don't even probably know them all. Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, Hirschsprung's, the list goes on and on and on. Reproduction. Do you think that your body is going to be spending valuable energy helping your system reproduce? No. Lots of people unable to conceive or taking fertility medications or having very irregular menstrual cycles. That's one thing that we get a lot of in here is helping to regulate cycles, and we'll talk about why that happens. Libido. Do you think you're going to have any sex drive when you're running from that tiger? Healing. Is your body going to be healing that ankle as you're running? No. No healing. And no repairing. Okay, so this is what happens when we have this amygdala hijacking going on.